In this video, we're going to run through the biggest personality myth trap that we all fall victim to.
What?
And
what do you mean all of us?
That means you too, buddy. And we're starting right now. Welcome to Next Level Warrior, the channel where we help you to build your warrior within to become your next level self. Now, if this is your first time here, or you haven't yet subscribed, then what are you waiting for? Hit that big red button and turn on notifications to join me in my new videos posted every single week. So this week we're finally touching on the 5th personality myth discussed in the book Personality is Impermanent. Part of the series that I've been doing breaking down parts of the book, especially the 5 myths, which you can check out in this playlist if you haven't seen them yet, but just do it after this video. Now, this might possibly upset some people, but I ask you to watch this with an open mind, to be strong and really look at your own life, asking where you may have or still act in these ways. No one's here to point the finger, because in truth, that finger points at all of us since we're all the ones who create or have created these self-imposed limits throughout our lives. To really make sense of what I'm saying here, let's take a closer look at this specific myth. Now, while this may not seem harmful, it can lead people to being incredibly inflexible and narrow-minded about how they view themselves, their potential, and their future. Our future being the biggest thing that we can stunt when it comes to believing that our personality is our authentic self. The author of this book, Dr. Benjamin Hardy, uses the example about how a growing number of students across North America are demanding the avoidance of giving in-class oral presentations, attaching to claimed issues of anxiety that make them feel discomfort, believing that they shouldn't be required to do what feels so unnatural. And here's the trouble with this. Most things that we haven't done before, or those which make us a bit nervous, anything, in fact, that pulls us out of our comfort zone is going to raise your heart rate and make your palms sweaty, feeling unnatural. What we need to realize, and I'm sure many of you watching this already do, is that when we step outside of our comfort zone, this is the place where growth occurs. This nervousness of the unknown is a mechanism of our instincts to keep us safe. A mechanism intended for survival that, more often than not, really works against us in the modern world. So we must differentiate between our own intuition when something doesn't feel right and really take a step back to ask, am I in danger here, or is this my own rigidity, not wanting to step outside of my own comfort zone? After all, it's significantly easier to say, I'm not that type of person, that makes me feel uncomfortable, or that goes against my authentic self, than it is to challenge these self-imposed limits. Don't you think? It's in these moments that we need to step back and ask, who's running the show here? Our brain that just wants us to stay alive, which has done so via going down the familiar path? Or my spirit that desires me to expand and grow during this human experience? Okay, maybe I'm getting a bit too far out here, but in all seriousness, a simple example from my own life experience is that I actually kept myself from swimming for 2.5 decades. Because of giving way to the discomforting feelings that would come up for me when I remembered a near-drowning trauma when I was pushed into the deep end of a pool at the age of 7. And every time I'd get near bodies of water, gorgeous pristine lakes, I'd literally start listing off as many reasons as possible as to why I wouldn't go in. It's too cold, I can't swim, I don't want to touch seaweed, eventually liberating myself immensely, erupting with empowering emotions, overcoming this a few years back when I took the plunge. And this is the type of stuff that we could be limiting ourselves so often in our lives when we fall back into the safety net of our self-imposed labels instead of rising towards our next level selves. Falling into the trap of using terms like, I need to be true to myself, or I gotta do what feels right to me. And this type of thinking yells out having a fixed mindset, keeping us stuck in patterns that harm our personal growth, stuck in our insecurities, perpetuating our past into the present again and again. And this brings me to the climax here. Are you ready for it? Dr. Benjamin Hardy asks in the book, what would happen if you stopped trying to be authentic and instead face the truth of why you're limiting yourself? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, what do you think would happen to people if they faced this truth? If they ask themselves why they're limiting themselves? I want to know what you think. I want to get a broad sense of perspectives from those of you that are watching this type of content. And I highly suggest that you take down this question into your journal and really think about it in your own life. We all limit ourselves in one way or another. So are you the authentic self that you were 5 or 10 years ago? What makes you think that you're that same authentic self now? I hope you guys realize that this is not coming from a place of pointing the finger, but a place of compassion for you. And even more compassion for myself, because that's exactly where I used to be. And I'm still challenged with a lot of these things. It's part of our growth in life, which is why I suggest looking at your authentic self via the means of who you aspire to be. Benjamin Hardy writes in his book that being authentic is about being honest, and being honest is about facing the truth, not simply justifying your limitations because you don't want to have these hard conversations with yourself. And he has tons of journaling questions placed strategically throughout the book that I've been sharing in my videos on these 5 personality myths, getting really great feedback from people on how powerful they are. So make sure to take a moment right now for yourself with your journal. Pause this video and reflect on these questions. Which notions of your authentic self are trapping you in a cycle of insecurity? Who do you really want to become? We've all gone through a variety of challenges in our lives that have shaped who we are, and I simply want you to know that even the tiniest shred of belief that you can change has the potential to make a world of difference in your life, in your health, and your relationships. I'm not the greatest fan of using this cliche term, but there's no better time to start than now, and I ask you to join me on this journey. Subscribe to the channel, show your support by sharing your insights in the comments, and even share this video with someone that you care about. I'd really love to hear from you if you're digging this style of content, because it really fulfills me to become more and more proficient in sharing this stuff. Sharing about these things that I never really understood in my past while I was climbing out of my own depths of darkness, creating real change for myself, growing real appreciation for life. Anyway, thanks for sharing your precious time here, and never stop growing, warriors. I'll see you in the next one.